a quick tutorial on how to do what I call the goddess dress. That's right, you all requested it, and so what we're going to do is I am going to show you just how easy it is to do this dress. It literally took me 15 minutes. And then another 15 minutes maybe for just little touch-ups here and there. That was my first time doing it. So this is going to be really quick for you all. Follow along. Get your scissors ready. Let's go. Okay guys, so the only measurement that you have to take, I'm going to show you right now. All you'll need to do is get your tape measure. You want to measure from the middle of your back, or the middle of your neck, sorry, all the way down to the floor. Alright, because you want your dress to fall all the way down to the floor, and it is a raw hem. You don't have to do any hemming, so make sure that you just do it all the way from the back of the neck all the way down to the floor. Let's get started. Alright guys, so after you get your measurement from the bottom, from the middle of your neck down to the floor, then what we're going to do is make sure that you have your 3.5 yards of fabric. Now I usually use about 3.5. I'm pretty tall, so you really want to base it according to your measurement. If you realize that you're going to need more than 3 yards, you may be able to get away with 3 yards, but make sure you measure yourself first so you can know just about how much fabric you need. So once you get your fabric all laid out, make sure your fold is on one side, of course, and your selvage edge is on the other side. Now what you're going to do is, the first thing you're going to draw out is the piece that's around the neck, or that's going to wrap around your neck. Now, I found that a comfortable amount, because I've done this once before, a comfortable amount is about 3 inches. So that when you unfold your fabric, you'll have about 6 inches to work with around your neck. So start from the fold, the edge of the fold, and you want to mark up 3 inches, or over 3 inches. And then just draw a line. After you get that measurement, guys, the rest of it is simple. All you're going to do is measure all the way from that point on the fold that you began, all the way down based off of that measurement that we took. My measurement was about 60 inches. So what I'm going to do is measure all the way down 60 inches. Make sure that when you're measuring that you're marking on the fold. So what I'm going to do, once I get my measurement, is I'm going to start at the fold, at the beginning point that I told you would wrap all the way around the back of your neck, and I'm going to measure down 60 inches. Once you measure down 60 inches, then you're just going to make a point at at your marking. Now you'll come back up to the top where you made your original marking 3 inches out from the fold. You're going to place your yardstick, or whatever you have, I'm using my yardstick, on the end of that point. Now all you want to do is make almost a triangle, starting from that point all the way down to the point that you made. You're going to kind of have to eyeball it, because the good thing is the end of this is a raw end, and so it doesn't really matter if it's a perfect straight line. At the end of your fabric is going to kind of drag the floor anyway and give you that flowy look. So you made your marking on your fold, and then you just mark all the way down using your yardstick until you get to that point, or across from that point on the fabric. And make sure that you fan out enough so that you use all the fabric and you don't run out of fabric. Now, my marking is here, and so I'm going to keep marking my line all the way down till I match that line on the other side. Alright, so just to do just a quick eyeball, what I'm going to do is take my yardstick and draw a line across to the other side, or make a dot on the other side, and you can just draw a few notches to use as cutting. And then you're going to continue to run your line all the way down. Alright, so once we've made our markings all the way from our point down to our 60-inch mark, then you're going to cut that piece out. You're going to cut 2 pieces out just like that. This is where your yardage comes in at. So you're going to cut 2 pieces out just like this. Now, once you get both of your pieces, what you're going to do is take your pieces and you can either tie them at the back if you want to, or if I would only recommend tying them if you plan on tying them to finish this look off. However, if you're going to stitch it, then just line them up in the back and hold with one hand. Or you can get someone to help you with this. And straighten your pieces out. And then figure out where you want your crease to come, or where you want to connect it at. If you want it far down, then you make a marking far down. If you want it up, so not as much, a little bit more modest, then you're just going to connect them and make sure that they're even at the back of your neck. Connect them and then just mark the fabric across where you want it to go. So I want mine to start about right here, so I'm just going to make my marking here, and you're going to use that as your guideline when you start sewing your front piece. Alright, once you get your marking made on your fabric where you want it to start in the front, then you're just going to line your pieces up, make sure that you spread them out, of course, and lay one piece on top of the other. You're going to take your pins and pin from where you did your marking and pin both pieces together all the way down to the very end. So pin them all the way down to the end of your dress, and then run a seam going all the way down the front of your dress. Do it on 5/8, of course. Alright, so as you can see, we're finished here on the front, and you can see where I started my stitch and went all the way down the dress. Alright, so what you're going to do now is try the dress on and put it behind you just like you want it. And then what you're going to do is take your sides and connect them in the back. And what you're probably going to have to do is get some help for this. But what you want to do is put the sides together just like you did the front, like so. And what you want to do is mark where you want your back to go. So I don't want my back too low this time. I'm going to just change this one up a bit. I want my back to end about right here. I'm going to mark that, and then you're going to run a stitch going all the way down the bottom also. Okay guys, once you get your front done and your back done, make sure that you differentiate which one is your front and which one is your back. In my case, my back is lower, so it's easy to tell which is my back and which is my front. So what you're going to do now to run a seam and finish the edges up is, if you notice that 5/8 inch that you sewed to close it off, it kind of gives it a natural crease. So what you're going to do is go ahead and with your steam iron, crease all the way down to the edge, or run a stitch all the way down the edge. You're going to do the same thing on both sides. Press it and then run a seam all the way down the edge. And what you want to do when you run that stitch is, on the inside, start from the corner and kind of run it out to the edge all the way down. And you want to do the same thing on both sides, front and back. Alright, so here's how your seam should look once you ran a stitch all the way up like I asked you to, and go ahead and iron those pieces out so that they lay nice and flat. And then what you're going to do is go to the top, and you're going to run 2 basting stitch all the way across from one end to the next. And your basting stitch is your longest. Put it on your longest stitch or your widest stitch, and do 2 basting stitches across the top on both sides. On this side and on the other side. Alright, so when you finish, your basting stitch should look similar to this on both sides. And if you notice, on both sides I left a little bit of the thread. I did not cut it off, and that's so that you can use it to pull and get your gathering. Just going to pull it on both sides. Alright, once you get both sides gathered, then you're going to take right sides and put them together. And use that opportunity to go ahead and even out all of your gathers so that both sides are the same width. And then you're going to pin all the way across and do a 5/8 inch hem from one side to the other. Alright, so when you finish, this is how yours should look, and of course go ahead and cut all of your extra thread away. And when you turn on the outside, this is the part that's going to go around your neck. And if you see your gathering, that gathering is just going to run down, and then instead of you having to pull it and gather it yourself, when you tie it, it's already gathered for you. Now, if you want to stop here and just have the dress big and don't make a belt, you don't have to. You don't have to go any further, but if you want to make a belt, then this is how you'll do it. Now, if you have a piece of your fabric left that still has the fold on it, then that's even better. You don't have to worry about having a seam going down it. But if you don't, you'll just have to do the same thing that I did on my other one, and that's just make an extra seam going down the middle to connect your two pieces when you cut. I'm doing mine on the fold, which makes it a little bit easier, and all I'm going to do is just draw one line going straight down and make it as straight as you can. And I have my line here, and then I'm just going to go about 4 inches up and make another line. And you want to make your belt long enough so that it hangs. You don't want just a really small belt that doesn't have any hang to it. It wouldn't be cute. It wouldn't finish off your look good. This is your cutting line. Alright, and once you finish cutting out your belt, then you'll just have one long piece. If you did not cut two pieces, if you did cut two pieces, you'll just hem those two pieces together, and then you'll have one long piece. Then all you want to do is just fold it in half like so, and run a seam going all the way down, or run a stitch going all the way down to the end. But when you get to the end, do not close off one end. It does not matter which end. Run your stitch all the way down to the end and leave an end open so that you can turn it inside out when you finish. Once you turn it inside out, then you can stitch it, hand stitch it, and then you'll be done with your belt.